Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Anda sedang menonton episod khas rakaman agenda Awani di New York. Dan oleh itu saya ingin minta izin untuk bicara bahasa Inggeris. I would like to welcome you to this very special recording of Agenda Awani in New York. I'm here because of the 5th annual meeting of GSIIC, or GSAC as they call it, the Global Science Innovation Advisory Council, for Malaysia to move forward in a very sustainable development manner. And I have met a lot of interesting people, key global experts, and one of them that I'm so pleased to meet today is Mr. Senapati Chris Gopalakrishnan, the co-founder of Infosys, a very big name. He's also a member of Startup Village Advisory Council. He's gotten numerous awards, but to name one, Chris was also elected to Thinker 50, an elite list of global business thinker in 2009. And Chris has had co-chaired one of the World Economic Forum in Davos in January 2014. But what I want to tap from Chris today is that last mile for Malaysia, where we think that we've tried so many things and this time we've got to make it happen. For someone who, because of 2 marks, missed becoming a medical doctor and was involved in one of the greatest company to have ever come out of India, especially for software. I want to tap into your input and wisdom on this, Chris. People say that there's only so much you can do from top to bottom, but in order to go for sustainable development across the board, for a nation and for a community across, you also have got to have it bottoms up. And looking at your story and Infosys, that's exactly the path and journey that you have taken.
See, today you have to leverage the power of participation. You have to include and involve every single person in the development of the country. Everybody has to play a role. And when you look at sustainable development goals, things like a green future, things like elimination of poverty, education for all, you have to involve every single citizen of the country in making sure that these goals are achieved. This is done through educating, empowering, creating the right environment, and making sure that that environment is sustained over a long period of time. I think that's what I see when I look at the Infosys story. We have created the platform for bringing employees, educating them. We have one of the largest corporate universities in the world, and then empowering them to deliver value to our customers. If our employees deliver value to the customer, the company does very well. So our customers succeed and then we succeed. That's how I see it.
Because it was way back in the 80s, this was before for Malaysia dial-up internet connection even. How did you and that 6 other person, the co-founders of Infosys, come up with this idea even of Infosys itself? Because it's so easy to look at profit and bottom line for that moment in 81, 82, 83, and then not to really see beyond that. So but you guys did.
So first of all, we were all software professionals. I had a master's in computer science, and hence we wanted to do something in software. Second, we wanted to do something from India, leveraging the talent and the resources that was present in India. And third, since we were starting a company, we said we will look at respect as the goal and the objective for the company. That was the vision. We will be a globally respected corporation. We didn't say we will be the largest or the most profitable. We said we will be a respectable corporation. I think that drove, and maybe the middle class background that we had, because when you are middle class, you really want respect. And so that is what drove us to create Infosys and provide a platform for people to come together and deliver value to our clients. Profit is a result of all the things that you do. You don't create a business for profit. You create a business to deliver value to your customer. You create a business to create a platform for people, your employees, to deliver that value, and profit will come.
A lot of people keep saying that for Malaysia especially, you know, we are very good at consuming things and adopting things, but to generate our own INOVASI, where's our own Google. Yes, now we're starting to hear it here and there, Grab Taxi or My Taxi, for example. But do you think that because we are a developing nation, we can't afford to put all our baskets all over the place? We need to choose that few baskets that will make it for us. So do we really strategize to hit that one Google, that one Twitter, that one Facebook kind of lead, just like how Nokia led Finland in the 20th century from industrial point of view? Do you think that's the way to go for us?
First of all, I want to say this. I'm, you know, from my interactions, from my review, actually happy with or proud of what Malaysia has achieved, because in a very short period of time, Malaysia has taken the per capita income from about $2,000 to almost $10,000, which is a significant achievement for a country. So actually Malaysia is a good example of how in a focused manner a country can develop. Of course this has been because of the oil, but that is okay. You know, as you said, the country has to leverage the strengths that it has. Now Malaysia, when you look at the future and to go from a middle income country to a high income country, which is the next leap that Malaysia has to make, it has to again review its strengths and leverage those strengths. And I would assume that you know, when you look at the strengths, when I had interactions with people there, you know, biotech, for example, is definitely one of those strengths that Malaysia can leverage. Nanotechnology is something that is emerging, again something that Malaysia can leverage. So it has to identify strengths that it has, pick one or two of those strengths and focus, because you need to nurture and develop that over a period of time, maybe 5-10 years, such that it can become big, it can scale up. I think that's what is needed, and I'm confident because of the history that Malaysia has, how it has developed to where it is today. I'm very confident that Malaysia can go from being a middle income country to a high income country.
Thank you for still tuning in to a very special recording of Agenda Awani in New York because of GSIAC or GSAC 5th annual meeting. I'm here and I have the liberty to tap into the wisdom of key stakeholders of sustainable development of the world, who are renowned people themselves. Chris, the co-founder of INOVASI, with me. I want to continue straight on to the point we were making earlier. 2 points. Education is very key. Science, technology, engineering and mathematics must be there at the grassroots for the younger generation to really learn, adapt and master, and use it to whatever that they think they have interest in. Plus, at the same time, we're saying not only do we want to increase them, many of them must have the entrepreneurial spirit. You have gone through both, because you thought you wanted to be a medical doctor, you missed by 2 points, then you went to take physics, and then you branched out into computer programming, and then you went into the business, the global business of computer software. So how do you combine STEM and entrepreneurship?
So first of all, innovation is very key in order to develop new products, new services. Innovation is important for development of a society which is leveraging technology. Innovation is very, very key. Now, how does innovation happen? Innovation happens through curiosity, through inquiry, and of course today the innovation is primarily targeted towards science, engineering, technology, mathematics, etc. So you need certain percentage of the population. It doesn't have to be everybody, and in fact it cannot be and it should not be everybody, but a significant 20-25% of the population, especially students who must take science, engineering, technology as their core subjects, because these are the people who are going to look at emerging trends, emerging technologies, and combine that with problems that are facing society and come out with new solutions, leveraging science. So you must have at least a certain percentage of the population. What India did very well after independence was focus on engineering. It created some of the best engineering schools in the world, in IITs, Indian Institutes of Technology, and these institutes trained people. A lot of them actually left the country. Many of them came to the US. In fact, if you look at about 25% of the startups in the Silicon Valley have Indian founders, and many of them have come from the IIT system. The CEOs of major corporations in the US, some of them are Indians, and they also have come from the IITs. So you have to create that educational infrastructure. You have to create the world-class colleges that will produce the people that will drive this innovation. Second, you need to also create and nurture an environment for entrepreneurship. I strongly believe that many Malaysians, as in any other country, would have the spirit of entrepreneurship. What is required is to create a ecosystem, an environment that will encourage entrepreneurship. First of all, it must be very easy to create a business, which I think Malaysia has. Second, there must be fair competition so that small companies can compete with larger companies. Otherwise, what happens is the larger companies just dominate. So you must have a fair environment where smaller companies can compete with larger companies. If you look at India, till 1991, it was very difficult for small companies to compete. In 1991, the government opened up the economy, freed many sectors. In fact, they allowed 100% foreign direct investment in many sectors. And that is when companies like Infosys could compete and become large. So that's what I believe is necessary.
We are also at that junction now between really opening up and at the same time, how do we answer the worry internally that says, if you open up everything, we are only 30 million people population. How can we compete with somebody from China? For example, we look at billions. The more mature, developed nation companies like America, European ones, how do we compete with them?
See, you must have the confidence in the people. You give them the right environment, you give them the right support, you give them the right education. At least some of them will have the ambition, will have the courage, will have the wherewithal to create world-class companies. I think you must have that confidence, and I believe there will be people, out of this 30 million people, there will be some people who will actually compete with the best in the world.
Can I borrow the learning experience of Infosys at that point? I'm sure at one time you were just looking around India for direct competition, but after a while, because going global, the mantra of Infosys, as you said, a good respected company, you then started looking outward. Do you look outward in terms of these are our rivals, or do you look outward that, hey, they are giving a good service, we maybe can give better service? How was it at that time?
From day one, we were a global company. From day one, our first customer was a US company. That is because we didn't have a market for software services in India. So we were forced to actually look outside for customers. Once you look outside for customers, we wanted to make sure that we had to that we are competitive, we are world class, and we invested in the best quality systems anywhere in the world. We invested in the best education anywhere in the world, and we made sure that we had the best technology, access to the technology for our employees. And then it happened. So we had no choice but to be world class and compete with the best in the world. There was no choice, there was no protected market. 100% foreign direct investment was allowed in software services, and hence there was no choice. So we had to make it happen.
At that particular time when you guys said that we must invest in the best of education, if I apply to certain dynamics now, a CFO of a company might say, why do you want to spend so much? It's going to look bad on our balance sheet and our financial papers at the end of this financial year. But to invest on something like great education cannot be reflected in the annual cycle of financial reporting of a company. But more and more, the pressure to come out with a good financial reporting paper at the end of financial year is there. So how do you think we can win in both sides of the coin?
So you must have a medium to long-term perspective when you develop a business. Without investment, without the proper investment, you cannot create a long-term business. You cannot create an institution. An institution building takes time. I think you must have the vision and the confidence to invest for the medium to long term. That's important.
Chris, one of the co-founder of Infosys, is with me, and he wasn't born to a Silicon Valley-based startup family or anything. And it's very interesting looking at Chris' written history. You can Google it up on the internet. But to make a long story short, you make up your own destiny as you go on. You make the best of decisions at the juncture that you're forced to make them. Upon failing to get into a medical school, you didn't have a plan B, but look at what you have achieved. So there's this saying on the internet that is often quoted that was attributed to you, which is, it's what you make at the opportunity time that matters the most. So I want to bring it up to the philosophical level where if we look at the concept of sustainable development, do not use up what we have today that the future generation wouldn't have. But already we are questioning whether we will have enough water by 2020 or 2025. Already we are thinking about, after fossil fuel, can we really supply the hunger for energy all around the world? So one of the reasons for that is because of all this innovation that has produced smaller stuff with more powerful reach. So how would you look at it, coming from the Infosys background and all?
See, first of all, you have to play with the cards you're dealt with. You have sometimes no choice, and you have to make best of what you get, and that's really what is important. You have to make best of what you get. We can't change history. You can only look at future and change the future, hopefully change the future. So when I look at sustainable development, I strongly believe that Asia can teach the world, can lead the world, and it's the philosophical and the spiritual history that we have, heritage that we have. I think that will benefit the world. If the world consumes like every American,
Yes.
definitely we will need 4 or 5 times the resources that Earth has. So we cannot afford to do that. And it is important for us to understand that, and every person on Earth must actually live within the allocated, within what he or she should consume,
What's enough?
what is enough for them. And if you only do that, clearly we can actually lead a better life, and we can leave a better world for our children. So unfortunately, this has to come from looking at spirituality, looking at what is right, etc. What I call the Asian values actually. This is something we can contribute. Technology is a tool.
Okay.
it is the person who is using the technology
That holds the
will
power.
will decide how the technology is going to be used. And so if you look at computing, it actually has changed the way in which we learn, we use knowledge, we store knowledge. All that has changed because of computing. I think because of that, I strongly believe that we can actually lead a better life, because now, you know, for example, if you leave the light on, automatically it will get switched off. If you want to control your refrigerator, if you want to control your air conditioner, so we can leverage this technology to lead a better, more balanced life. We can, you know, compute how much power we are supposed to consume and how much we are actually consuming.
Okay.
Automatically that adjustment can be made, and if you consume too much, maybe there is a penalty, and that forces the change in behavior. So there are things that now technology allows us to do, which if we intelligently and smartly use, I think we can live a better world.
It's just like a knife. If you want to use it to hurt people, then it will be so.
Yes.
If you want to use it to cook something really delicious, then it's for the good.
Yes, exactly.
But before I let you go, can you give me your own personal opinion about what's the greatest game changer to be looked at in this near term of maybe 2 to 3 years?
So clearly in the near term, you know, the connectivity that we have achieved, we have more than 3 billion people connected using mobile telephony now. That's unprecedented. Every one of those people has the capacity today to get his or her voice heard. Every one of them has access to the entire world's knowledge at their fingertips, has the way to control things using that technology. I think that's unprecedented power in the hands of the individual. Now, how do we harness this to create a better world? How do you educate every person on the world? How do you provide the best healthcare for every person in the world? So some of the problems that we were faced with today, using this technology, we can solve. I think that's the short-term opportunity that we have. In the medium to long term, we will have everything connected. So we have everybody connected.
IoT.
Now we will have everything connected, and that world is probably going to be even more challenging because everything is connected. But I see that as an opportunity to probably make our lives even better, and the world makes better.
And you sound excited about it. The possibility of it.
Possibility is definitely exciting, and the possibility will have to be thoughtfully harnessed, smartly harnessed, and that's what is exciting.
Chris, 1 minute left. You seems to be giving very glowing view of Malaysia. So now I want you to give, within maybe 30 seconds, GSEC 5th Annual Meet is all about saying this is the time for action. You know, strategies have been laid out, everything's there, just do it. Just put science and innovation at the heart of development. Your call on what will make or break for Malaysia on this.
The pilot programs have been very successful. First and foremost, we need to scale up those pilot programs. We need to, for example, embed inquiry-based education into every school and every college. Second, there is an opportunity to leverage the best minds in the world for the development of Malaysia through this advisory council. We need to see how that can be leveraged better, how that can become integral to the 11th Malaysia 5-year plan, which is what Malaysia started on. So how the advisory council can learn about Malaysia's priorities and then how they can contribute to Malaysia's priorities. I think that's a great opportunity.
Wise and very caringly friendly words from a very, very interesting person who have done it all. As far as Infosys is concerned, thank you so much, Chris. I do hope you also take up the offer to spend more time in Malaysia. We need more of you there. Thank you so much to you for watching. Terima kasih banyak. Anda telah menyaksikan rakaman agenda Awani khas di sisi GSIAC ataupun GSEC Mesyuarat Tahunan ke-5 di New York dan insyaAllah Malaysia perlu membangun dengan lestari. Hantarkan pandangan anda sendiri kepada pelbagai platform yang Astro Awani ada, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, ataupun muat turun aplikasi mudah alih iOS dan Android Astro Awani. Dan insyaAllah kita akan jumpa lagi dalam episod yang lain pula. Sekian, terima kasih. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.